Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Louis Carlin, or her right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching for the first time, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Shooting Up North, Instagram at Alliance PW Network, and feel free to join our Facebook group, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. So Impact Wrestling has announced another match for Multiverse United, and it's still not a knockouts match. So they announced, let me pull the match up here. They announced an 8-man tag team match that they just randomly threw together. So it's going to be on one side, Fred Rosser, New Japan Pro Wrestling Showings, Fred Rosser, Alex Coughlin, I'm sorry, Sammy Callahan, and PCO taking on the team of Eddie Edwards, Joe Hendry, J.R. Kratos, and Tom Lawler. So just a random match that they threw together. So that match was announced yesterday. So we have 7 matches in total now, and after they announced this match, there's a call on social media. A lot of people are tweeting out on social media and on Facebook, where are the knockouts? When are you going to announce a knockouts match? And people are people are defending it, saying, well, it's a New Japan Pro Wrestling match. It's a New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Impact Wrestling show. New Japan Pro Wrestling doesn't have women. It's Stardom. That's a crock of crap. Okay, that's a crock of crap because New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Battle in the Valley had a IWGP Women's Title match on that show. So there are women. There's a Kyrie they could bring in. They could bring in a Mercedes Monet. They could be working something out. They could there's Stardom. They could bring in some Stardom stars as well. Mayu Iwatani, Tam Nakano, Julia. They could bring in Bushiroad owns New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom. So that's a crock of crap. When you say it's a New Japan Pro Wrestling show, there's not going to be women, and that's garbage. So let me read something though. Let me read something. Let me read something. It's on the Impact Wrestling website right now. Right now, it says. I'm just gonna read from this paragraph. It says also confirmed for Multiverse United, Jeff Cobb battles former Impact World Champion Moose. Impact Stars confirm that the dual promotion spectacular reigning X Division champion Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, plus of the knockouts most of the knockouts. Impact Stars confirmed for this dual promotion spectacle, reigning X Division champion Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, plus most of the knockouts. That's still on Impact Wrestling's website. Why haven't they announced a knockouts match yet? Why haven't they done it? Deanna Perrazzo, as I spoke in my on my podcast yesterday, she tweeted out she tweeted out announced the knockouts already. When are you going to announce the knockouts? Seemingly a little upset or a little irritated, and rightfully so. But when are they going to announce one? It could be while they trying to negotiate something with Mercedes Monet so they can do Mickey James against Mercedes Monet. If they're trying to do that, okay. But they say here most of the knockouts are going to be on it. So announce Deanna Prazo versus somebody. Announce Death Dolls defending the titles against the team. Announce some knockouts match because if you're gonna say most of the knockouts are gonna be on the show, unless you're gonna have like a giant battle royal. If they do a battle royal where all the knockouts are in the battle royal, I think that would be insulting in my opinion. Insulting in my opinion to the knockout. There should be at least 2 or 3 knockouts matches. Hopefully, starting this weekend, they're going to announce a knockouts match. I think it's very important that the knockouts are on this show. The knockouts are an integral part of Impact Wrestling, and they deserve to be on this show. Even if they're not going to bring in even if they're not going to bring in someone from Stardom, at least find some young talent, or maybe go to Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. They're going to be Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. They're going to have a big show during WrestleMania weekend. Maybe you could bring some talent in from there. Granted, they're not owned by Bushiroad. They're owned by Cyberfight, which is technically competitor to Bushiroad, and the Cyber Fight owns Toronto. I'm sorry, Tokyo Joshi Pro Toronto, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. They own DDD Pro Wrestling, and they own Pro Wrestling Noah. Pro Wrestling Noah, New Japan Pro Wrestling, they have a decent relationship. So if you could bring somebody in from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling to face off against some knockouts, I'd be okay with that. I would be okay with that. But let's get an announcement soon. Let's get, because like I said yesterday, you don't want Deanna Prazo to be upset. You don't want to insult Deanna Prazo. Deanna Prazo obviously wants to be on this show. Obviously wants to be on this show. And if she's not, she's going to get a little irritated. And remember, as I said yesterday on my podcast, I'll say it again today, she hasn't signed a contract extension. Impact Wrestling picked up her option for 2023. So she hasn't signed a contract extension, and her contract's ending at the end of this year. You don't want to get her upset, because if you get her upset, you get Steve Macklin upset. And if you lose both Steve Macklin and Deanna Prazo, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. So let's make some knockouts announcement. Again, even if you're waiting to see if you can negotiate something with Mercedes Moné, we got what, 19 days left. Let's start announcing something. Let's know. Can you bring in Julia? Can you bring in Tam Nakano? Could you bring in Mayo Iwatani from Japan? You know, fly them out here. Put up Iwatani against Deanna Prazo. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Let's get going, Impact Wrestling. Let's get some knockouts on this show. And instead of announcing just random 8-man tag team matches that you're throwing matches together. I tell you, I'm when they announced Josh Alexander against Kushida, Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey, and then Moose versus Jeff Cobb, I was like, wow, that's the first 3 matches. This is going to be a great show. And then I kind of think it kind of went downhill from there in terms of match announcements, in my opinion. Kenta versus Minoru Suzuki, as I said, should be a great match, but isn't it Impact Wrestling versus New Japan Pro Wrestling? Granted, Minoru Suzuki not officially under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's a free agent. He can wrestle anywhere. I mean, if you're a fan of Japanese wrestling in Japan, you'll see Minoru Suzuki will wrestle anywhere. He wrestles for All Japan Pro Wrestling. He'll show up in New Japan. He's not technically under contract, but he's a guy from Japan. So I would have rather have had Macklin against Suzuki and Kenta defending against Sami Callihan. That's what I would have put together. That's the matches that I would have put together. I wouldn't have. Plus, you got the 4-team tag team matches, throwing shit together. Oh, whoops! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse. I think this is the first time I've ever cursed on the podcast. I just sorry. BQ of the Impact Lounge will be proud. BQ of the Impact Lounge will be proud that I cursed. And he's gonna give me a fist bump for curse. No, he won't. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. I got excited when they announced the first 3 matches, but after that, there were none of the matches they announced have got me excited. I mean, Bullet Club. If it was Bullet Club defending against Aussie Open, just to 2 teams, that would have been great. Instead of a cluster F where you have 4 teams involved, there's too much going to be going on, in my opinion. But anyway, that's just people are excited about it, and that's fine. But as I said, when they announced the first 3 matches, I got really excited. I actually would have had Josh Alexander against Kenta. If Kenta's going to be on the show, I think Josh Alexander against Kenta would have been the bigger match than Josh Alexander against Kushida. And people will say, well, they don't want Kenta to lose, but spoiler alert, hold your ears if you don't want to hear this. But Josh Alexander actually defeats Kenta at the TV tapings. But instead of doing that match at the TV tapings, they should have held that match for Multiverse United. That would have been a bigger main event than Josh Alexander versus Kushida. It's my opinion, and probably most people's opinion as well. Then you could have had Kushida. You could have had Kushida against. You could have done Kushida against Trey Miguel for the X Division Championship. That would have been a better option there, instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people competing for the X Division title. That would have been a better option. I'm more of a fan of the one-on-one matches instead of the 6-man. Like, they threw together the 6-man match for the for the X Division Championship. Like I said, none of the matches after the first 3 years have really got me all pumped up. And let's announce some knockouts matches. Let's do that. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. I just wanted to vent about that for a little bit. Sorry about the cursing. If you're watching for the first time, you enjoy the content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'll be back. It's the weekend. I'm watching the news. Anything breaks, of course, I'll be back. But until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. And stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.